Give me liberty or give me death. That's what Patrick Henry said when we were going to be declaring our independence from Great Britain. And though that quote is something that might be considered to be given back to the history books, it is far more profound than I think we like to give it credit for. Back then, you had someone that was willing to put a bayonet through your heart to shut you up because they were convicted that it was their way or the highway. Their rule was unquestionable, but it bred a certain kind of hero and a certain kind of resistance that, thank God, we have nowadays. That we've benefited from nowadays, I should say. So looking back at Patrick Henry's quote, it begs the question, what is liberty? Or, more accurately, what is freedom? If you look at human expression, if you look at the human life, the state of freedom is life itself. We weren't constructed, we weren't made, we didn't evolve, whatever you ascribe to, whatever origin theory you believe. We didn't happen to play a part on a stage and have our lives be a collection of lines and spotlights until we wandered off, concealed by the curtain, and that was the end of it. And we know that because there are people throughout history whose actions, whose words have echoed into the future and will continue to do so. That's why we know the name of Adolf Hitler. That's why we know the name of Alexander the Great. That's why we know who Winston Churchill is and who Thomas Jefferson was. That's why we know who Jesus Christ is. And that's definitely why we know who Muhammad is. What it boils down to is they could have done anything else, but they didn't. They chose their path, and it struck a chord and resonated throughout the human spirit. And that's why, if we bend an ear to listen, it will resonate with us today. They had the freedom to act, the freedom to choose, and the freedom to commission into reality the things that they were known for, the things perhaps that they felt it was their duty to accomplish. Now fast forward to today. You have incontrovertible proof that a cabal of about 30 people or so did everything they possibly could, short of, well, I'm not going to say short of murder because we all kind of know what happened to Seth Rich by now, don't we? But they did everything they could to influence an election, to take away your freedom, to take away your ability to exercise your right and exact a change that you feel passionate about. They didn't care. And I think Trey Gowdy summed it up pretty damn well himself when he said politics nowadays isn't about the truth. It's about embarrassing the other side and winning. And while that is a deplorable state of affairs, it is in no way an excuse, convenient or otherwise, for what happened. We have the DNC paying for a government agency to receive information that was completely fabricated, that was completely unverifiable, and was delivered from the hands of someone that had a wicked sharp political axe to grind and was very open about it. And somehow, something that at best would have been a ego-stroking op-ed article or flirtation with lands that lay beyond reality. I wouldn't even know what else to call it. You have that being used to grant a foreign intelligence surveillance court order against one Republican Party as a dragnet surveillance scheme that sucked up a whole lot It was supposed to be reviewed every 90 days to make sure that the information that was used to grant it, because we were using this power that is supposed to be used for foreign intelligence and support to military operations, we were using that power against American citizens. And every 90 days it was supposed to be renewed to make sure that we were doing this thing right. And make no mistake, it wasn't somehow the chips fell as they may. It was people that didn't care about what was right or what was wrong. They didn't care about you having the freedom to exercise the political stance, the social stance, the spiritual stance that you thought needed to happen in this country in the 2016 presidential election. They didn't care. They didn't want you to have a say. They wanted you to shut up and color. And they wanted you to die quietly. Because it all would have been swept under the rug if Hillary Clinton was in office. Every breach, every misstep, every overuse of power would have just been wiped away. No accountability. Nobody knows anything the wiser. They just wanted you to go away. Stand in the corner. Nice and quiet. Not asking questions. Not making a fuss. Because it's their way now. It's their reality. And you're just a player in it. Winding out your little part. Getting a little time in the spotlight. And when you walk behind the curtain, you're dead. You're gone. You might be remembered. Hopefully you had a grandma that took a lot of pictures like I did. Is that what you want? You want to live somewhere where the concept of liberty itself, the state of living, the state of having a conscience, freedom, is trampled on like that? Or do you want to do something about that? Do you want to make sure that we get to the bottom of this? We elect people, we instate people that are never going to let that happen again. And yes, never again is attainable. All we have to do is remember. All we have to do is care. All we have to do is get somebody that shares our same values, that shares the same passion of justice, of integrity, and we can make it right. Don't be silent. Don't let anyone con you into thinking that it's too complicated for you to understand. Similarly, don't let anyone con you into thinking that it's just all so simple. And anybody and everybody that has an opinion about it, a passionate opinion, is just overreacting. Now we don't have someone that we can acknowledge necessarily that's going to put a bayonet through our hearts. They'd much rather just throw a cool couple $1 million at somebody and put you in a cage that doesn't have any bars, doesn't have any walls, and control what you think, and control what information you have access to, so then they can control the way you think, so then they control the way you perceive the world, and literally suck you dry of the one thing that makes you a potent life force on this planet. And that is your freedom. Spread the word. If you don't understand this stuff, dig into it yourself. Ask people about it. Talk to people about it. If they don't want to have the conversation, you might ask who your friends are. But whatever happens, Don't let this thing slide by. And just treat it like the next newest flavor of the week. It's going to hit the tabloids, it's going to hit the headlines, and go away.